again. Welcome to Pencil Tutorial Part 3. Alright, in the last one we carved a nice taper out of the top of our pencil, and now we're ready to go on to the next part. First we want to get rid of our sharpener because we don't need it anymore. So with it selected, I'll just hit X and delete. Alright, so the next part that we need to do is we need to carve out a pencil lead out of our pencil here. And it's actually, this is pretty easy. It just takes a little bit of playing with to get it right. We're going to use the knife tool to make this happen. All right, so I'm going to put it in, I'm going to hit Z and I'm going to put it in wireframe mode here, wireframe view, and I'm going to change it, let's see, hit tab and that'll put us into edit mode. Try anyway. Or I can do it down here where it says object mode. Sometimes you'll mess with it and it'll change some things. This one is actually inverted the selection here. So I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. So right now we're in edit mode. It looks good. And we're going to use, it's a real simple tool to use. You just have to be on the lookout for some subtle things with it. All right, so I'm just going to hit K on the keyboard, and you can see that the cursor changes into a little knife looking thing. But we got to take note to what's going on down here at the bottom. It gives us a couple of translations here on what the different buttons do to do it. Left mouse button is it actually lets you draw a line across these polygons, these faces, to make a new row, and that's what the whole point of this is. So one thing we have to be concerned with is in its normal mode, the cut through portion of it is turned off, which means if you go ahead and slice it down the middle like this, it's going to not cut all the way through. I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to go ahead and left click and drag a line down through it, and you can see that it created a lot of new vertices right here. All right, to finish that drag, you just click the left mouse button again, and you see all the vertices turn red. And I'm going to hit enter on the keyboard and that'll turn it off. All right, now if you look carefully, you can see that a new row of vertices has been formed. It's right around here. But if we zoom in close and I'll turn off, let's see, I'll put it back into the other mode here. It didn't go all the way through. It only went part of the way through. Let's see if I can find that so you can see it. So let's just, I'll show you just by selecting it here. I'm going to make sure we're in polygon mode right here, face select, and I'm going to hit the B key, and that's box select, and I'll drag a box around that, and it'll select it, and you can see that it only selected half. That's one of the reasons, well, that's another thing that we need to select to change here, is also the selection mode, which is limit selection to visible. So that one needs to be off, so it will actually select all the way through the model too. So I'll hit A again, and we'll try that again. B on the keyboard, we'll draw ourselves a box. Okay, now let's take a close look and see what it did here. Okay, it looks like it only cut certain of those polygons. I keep saying polygons because I'm used to another package, but these are faces, and it let's do Control-Alt-Q. We'll give us a close look at that. You can see that only some of them have been cut. The ones that I selected are only the ones that have been cut where there's new polygons. Okay, so let's, I'm going to undo out of that. Undo a couple of times, that's Control-Z. There we go. And we'll get back into our regular quad view. All right, we'll put it back on. We'll hit Z again, so we've got trying to square up the views here, but it's looks like that only works in object mode here. Okay, so we're going to try another cut. We'll do that again. We'll see if we can get a nice clean cut through there. We'll hit K, and we'll drag a line again and see how that goes. But before we do, I forgot. I'll hit escape and we'll get out of that. We do need to change it You can see down here where it says Z cut through off. Right now it's set for off, but we need to set it for cut through on. So you see when I hit Z, it'll change it to on right here. Okay, we'll go ahead and drag our mouse, and that should cut all the way through this time. Left click to stop the action, and then enter to turn off the tool. We'll take a good look there, and we'll see it looks like it might be all the way around this time. We'll zoom in close. We'll hit Z. Okay, well, we'll find out in a minute here. So we're going to make sure that select through, limit selection to visible. We're going to turn that on. Excuse me, that needs to be off. You can see how that when we change that, it changes the display. So now we can see all the way through the back of the model here. So I'm going to make sure that this is off, which is what we want. We'll do box select again, that's B on the keyboard. I'll drag a box around all of those faces, and we'll see if we get all the way through this time. It looks pretty clean all the way around. You can see how that worked. All right, so we're going to go ahead and give these faces a brand new material here. We're going to go ahead and plug it in. We hit the material button, we can see the two plugs that we already created for this. We're going to create another one with the white plus. New plug ready to go. We'll hit new. And true to form here, we're going to keep it alphabetical. We're going to do pencil. We're going to call it pencil lead. Although really it's not lead, it's a graphite. Anyway, we'll keep going here. We'll click diffuse. We know this guy needs to be black. But if you take a look at your pencil lead, you can see that it's a little bit shiny. Really, the pencil paint on the body is also shiny. We can change that a little later, but I want to show you a little bit about, put the preview back on here, a little bit about specular values. Specular is basically an artificial shininess that it puts on any material that you choose. What it does is it shows you which way the light's coming from by drawing the hot spot from the light. It's not a real reflection, but it gives you a general sense of how hard the surface is. So right now there's a lot of settings around for specular, a lot of choices you can make. I'm just going to keep it on Cooktor, which is the default here. I can turn up the intensity on that so it's more intense. You can see that hot spot in here is very hot, very intense. So we can do that, and we'll leave that alone for now. You know, if you're free to experiment as you like. I could turn off, let's see, I could put it back in by hitting tab. Oh, let's see, I forgot a step here. I was supposed to assign it to our material. So let me put it back. I'll put it back on edit mode. When you're in edit mode and you want to apply a material to actual faces that you select, you actually need to hit the assign button, which is right up here up top. So instead of just being attached to the object, now this material is attached to actual faces. So once you hit assign, then it's all set to go. Then it's receiving and it's displaying the new material that's in there. Okay, so now I'm going to hit tab so we can see what I was talking about with the specular values. Specular is pretty much higher on the black part than it is on the wood part. We want to play with that a little bit. I'll click the pencil sharpener material here, and I'll turn the intensity down on the specular part so it's very flat. You can see how that's changing in the window right here. You see how that's changing? So I'll turn that way down because wood isn't very specular at all. It doesn't throw back much of a hot spot. And then I can scroll down a little bit here. I'm pretty sure that there is a little bit of a specular highlight here. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to go back to pencil body. I see that it already has some specular assigned to it. I'm going to crank that up some more. So when we turn the pencil in our view, we orbit around it, we can see that there's a little bit of shine on some of those faces. Okay, that gets us to where we need to be right now. Next, I'm going to create a text object, and we're going to do another Boolean function on the side of the pencil to carve in a message or a name or a title into the pencil's body. Okay, we'll see you in a bit.